children, welcome to the online Edu-class session for class 6 chapter number 14 Water part 2. How many times have you noticed that water spilled on the floor dries up after some time? The water seems to disappear actually. Similarly, water disappears from wet clothes as they dry up. Water from wet roads, rooftops, and few other places also disappear after the rains. Where does this water go? Actually, on heating, water changes into its vapor form. Water vapor so formed becomes a part of the air and cannot usually be seen. However, we have seen that water changes into its vapor also from the fields, roads, rooftops, and other land areas. In the daytime, all the air surrounding us gets heated up. This warm air provides heat from evaporation of water. Thus, evaporation takes place from all the open surfaces, even in shades. As a result, water vapor gets continuously added to air. However, evaporation of water is very slow process. That is why we rarely notice this loss from a bucket full of water. In sunlight, evaporation takes place very fast. Now, plants need water to grow. Plants use a part of this water to prepare their food and retain some other part in their different parts. Remaining part of this water is released by the plants into the air as water vapor through the process of transpiration. Will you remember transpiration? Yes. Water vapor enters the air through the process of evaporation and transpiration both. Is this lost forever? No. We get it back again, as we will see right now. The process of condensation plays an important role in bringing water back to the surface of earth. How does it happen? If we go higher from the surface of the earth, it gets cooler. When the air moves up, it gets cooler and cooler. At sufficient height, the air becomes so cool that the water vapor present in it condenses to form tiny droplets, that is of water. It is these tiny droplets that remain floating in air and appear to us as clouds. Slowly, these tiny droplets of water come together to form large sized droplets of water. Some drops of water become so heavy that they begin to fall. These falling water droplets are what we call rain. In special conditions, it may also fall as hail or snow. That is very cold condition. Thus, water in the form of vapor goes into air by evaporation and transpiration, forms clouds, and then comes back to the ground as rain, hail, or snow. What happens to the water that rain and snow brings to different regions of the earth? Almost all land surfaces are above the level of oceans. Most of the water that falls on the land as rain and snow sooner or later goes back to the oceans. This happens in many ways. Snow in the mountains melts into water. This water flows down the mountains in the form of streams and rivers. Some of the water that falls on land as rain also flows into the form of rivers and streams. Most of the rivers cover long distances on land and ultimately fall into the sea or ocean, like river Ganges. However, water from some rivers flow into the lakes also. The rainwater also fills up the lakes and ponds. A part of the rainwater gets absorbed by the ground and seems to disappear in the soil. Some of this water is brought back to the air by process of evaporation and transpiration, as we have discussed. The rest seeps into the ground. Most of this groundwater becomes available to us as underground water. Open wells are fed by groundwater. Groundwater is also a source of water in the lakes. It is also this groundwater which is drawn by the hand pump or a tube well. More the hand pumps, more the use of underground water in that area. and we need to dig deeper and deeper for the search of underground water. The loss in the level of groundwater is due to this overuse. In those areas where the land has little or no vegetation, rainwater flows away quickly. Flowing rainwater also takes the top layer of the soil away with it. There are few areas where most of the land is covered with concrete. This reduces the seepage of rainwater into the ground, which ultimately affects the availability of underground water. We know that water brought back to the surface of the earth by rain, hail, or snow goes back to oceans. Thus, water from the oceans and surface of the earth goes into air as vapor, return as rain, hail, or snow, and finally goes back to oceans. So, this is the circulation of water, and this circulation of water in this manner from the earth to the clouds and from clouds back to the earth is known as water cycle. This circulation of water between ocean and land is continuous process which is maintained for regular supply of water on land. The time, duration, and the amount of rainfall varies from place to place. In some parts of the world, it rains throughout the year, while there are places where it rains very few for a few days only. In our country, most of the rainfall occurs during the monsoon season. Rain brings relief, especially after hot summers. The sowing of many crops depend upon arrival of monsoon, like paddy. However, excess of rainfall may lead to many problems. Heavy rains may lead to rise in the level of water in rivers, lakes, and ponds. The water may then spread over large areas causing floods. The crop fields, forests, villages, and cities may get submerged by water. In our country, floods causes extensive damage to crops, domestic animals, property, and even human life. During floods, the animals living in the water also get carried away with water. They often get trapped on land areas and die when flood water recedes. Rain also affects the animals living in the soil. Can you imagine what would happen if it does not rain at a region for a year or more? The soil continues to lose water by evaporation and transpiration, just discussed. Since it is not being brought back by rain, the soil becomes dry, drier and drier day by day. The level of water in ponds and wells of the region goes down, and some of them may even dry up. The groundwater may also become scarce. This may lead to drought. In drought conditions, what happens? It is difficult to get food and fodder. You might have heard about droughts occurring in some parts of a country or the world, like African countries. Only a small fraction of water is available on the earth which is fit for use for plants, animals, and humans. Most of the water is in oceans and it is salty and it cannot be used directly. When the level of groundwater decreases drastically, this can not be used anymore. The total amount of water on earth remains same, but the water available for use is very limited and is decreasing due to continuous overusage. The demand of water is increasing day by day. Number of people using water is increasing with rising population. Long queues for collection of water are the common sights in big cities. More and more water is being used for producing food and by the industries to fulfill the needs of this rising population. These all factors are leading to the shortage of water in many parts of the world. Hence, it is very important that water is used carefully and judiciously. One way of increasing the availability of water is to collect rainwater and store it for later use. Collecting rainwater in this way is known as rainwater harvesting. The basic idea behind rainwater harvesting is catch water wherever it falls. We can use two techniques like rooftop rainwater harvesting and roadside rainwater harvesting. For rooftop rainwater harvesting, what we do, the rainwater is collected from the rooftop to the storage tank through pipes. This water may contain soil from the roof and need filtering before it is used. Instead of collecting rainwater in the tank, the pipes can go directly into the pit in the ground. This then seeps into the soil to recharge or refill the groundwater. Another option is to allow water to go into the ground directly from the roadside drains that collect rainwater. This process of collecting water is called roadside rainwater harvesting. So, children, this is all about today's lesson, water. Save water for you and your future. Thank you.